Hi, this is Arthur K.F. Johnson, and this is part 2 of my interview for the Creative Corner about my books published on One Iron Woman Publishing. The difference between traditional and self publishing is a little lost on me because I have only been self published. So I can only go by what I think I know from people who've been traditionally published. I do know that I guess I skipped the part where people have to submit their transcripts and worry about whether or not they like something or they get rejected. Um, Self-publishing, you have to be a do-it-yourself type of person. There are guidelines and formats that you have to use in order to publish your book in different formats, in Kindle and paperback and audiobook. Because I do have my own publishing company, really that's more for tax purposes than it is for anything else, but also because some people feel you're more validated when you have a publishing company or when you're under a publisher than when they just see your name and you're self-published. So on my books, I always put One Iron Woman Publishing because I feel that for new readers, when they're picking up a book, sometimes they feel more comfortable purchasing a book because they feel like that author must have been validated in some sense. And although that might be a little bit of a roundabout because it is my publishing company, I'm willing to do what's necessary to make sure that my marketing skills work for me and not against me. Um, but it's definitely a 24/7 thing that you have to do. You have to be very dedicated because you are your street team unless you're willing to hire other people to do that and unless you have the finances to be able to do that. So I've become very creative. I've become very resilient and very resourceful. Initially, I was paying for a lot of things, and I wasn't particularly happy with the outcome of how the way that certain things came out. I didn't necessarily like the way that I received certain products, book covers, what have you. And so I took it upon myself to learn how to do those things myself. So of all the book trailers that I have and the marketing trailers that I have, the only one I didn't do myself is the first one that I ever did. All the rest of them were ones that I learned how to do myself. And I've gotten a lot of accolades and a lot of people asking me who I used to do those things, and it was myself. I have made 2 of the 5 book covers that are on these books here, including another book cover that is on my compilation book for An Unscrupulous Mind. So that's also something that I'm working on being able to do myself is book covers. I've done all my flyers myself, my business cards, the runners, like you name it, I'm probably able to do it myself and self-promote myself. And I'm the one who contacts all of, Amazon, the bloggers, whoever, to make sure that I get myself out there, because if you don't, it won't happen. And as much as a lot of people like to think when you get with a traditional publisher, you won't have to do that, you'll still have to do those things. Maybe not to the extent that I have to do them as a self-published author, but traditional publishing companies are not handing over these big bonuses, signing bonuses, and just letting you sit around while a marketing team does that any longer. It's not the same industry that Stephen King and Terry McMillan got into when they first started. So authors are expected to do a lot of their own, legwork, marketing, sometimes pay for their own editing and things like that are included in their contracts. What I like about being self-published is the control that I'm able to have over myself and my own brand. When you are with a traditional publisher, you don't really have much of a say-so as to when a book will come out, how long a book will stay out, price points, or anything like that. For myself, because I'm not a quick writer, that also stops me from missing deadlines, because I give myself a deadline, and if I miss it, I just have to change the deadline. That won't be the same for a traditionally published company. And I've also found a lot of ways to keep the majority of the money myself, because if I was with a traditional company, I would have to give them a large cut of my profits. And so I'm minimizing some of that. What I do think may be lacking as a self-published author is the stretch that you would have if you're with a traditional publisher, because of course their audiences are going to be larger. They're going to have a street team. They're going to have readers that can come on more. If you put a book out today, you might have 50 or 100 reviews within a week or more. So that's probably the thing that I'm lacking in not being with a traditional publisher, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to get there one day on my own, or get to a level that I feel is the equivalent of that. I use a lot of different ways to market my book, or all the books that I have. I'm not sure which strategy works the best, because I use so many, and most of them I would say they're all good strategies, so I can't really say what works better than others. I just know that there's a lot of traffic to my website. I think it's imperative that any author have a website. Whether you're selling off that website or not, you still need to be able to refer anybody who reads your book to something that is based on you, that has all your work and everything, that they can download a media kit, look at events that you have going on, or anything like that, because I think the level of professionalism makes people trust your work a little more, and gives you something to show other people if you're trying to market yourself to them. And you can say, hey, go to my website. You can look at what I've done. You can look at when I was nominated for awards, I would post that. On there you can put your accolades, and people can kind of see who you are and what you've done without you having to personally answer that question every time, as far as someone, you get a new reader, you don't want to have to field a lot of inbox messages of like, so who are you, or what is that? You can say that, but you can also say, hey, if you look on my website, it'll tell you anything you need to know about me. I'm happy to answer any other questions you may have. Also, there are a lot of platforms that are open. Amazon has a lot of marketing that you can participate in. If you have a book on Amazon, you can market your book there. You just have to pay for it like everybody else would, but you can have them marketed to display on people's Kindles, to show up on the website. When they pick another book, your book will show up. Some of that is just an algorithm, but to have it marketed where you're specifically setting up and showing on people's Kindles who maybe read your genre, I use that a lot. Since Facebook and Instagram have melded together, I have been using some of their marketing also. I post a lot on social media, not just for my books, but for myself as an author. I think having my name, say KF Johnson author, also helps, because when you're commenting on people's posts, it may spark someone's curiosity just to say, like, you're an author, or what do you write? Or they might just click on your page. They might not say anything to you, but they might just click on your name. So for that reason, I make sure that my cover photo, my profile photo, all has my links to my website, to my books, so that you always are able to get access to any information. You can always ask me for that information, but if you're the type of person who doesn't want to, you can find that right away, immediately. So I use that. I use Twitter. I use word of mouth. I have business cards, so whenever I'm out, if I'm talking to someone, I recently had to stay in the hospital, and I sure was passing those cards out to the nurses. I was talking to them first, because to me, the best marketing is yourself. It's not really just handing out cards to people, because people will just toss that over like, oh, that's nice, and then they chuck it. But if you build a rapport first, and then say, hey, by the way, do you read or whatever? Because I'm an author, people become a little more invested. And when I've done it that way, I have received a lot of feedback. People I've handed stuff to, doctor's appointments, on the train, on an airplane, anywhere. People have received that, and I have received feedback from that, book reviews, comments on Facebook, because they're able to get my social media through my business card, they can get all that information that they need, and it displays my books. So I think really your best marketing tool is you. It's your personality, the way that you interact with people when you see them, when you talk to them on social media. Everybody's not going to like you. That's just a reality of it. It's going to be that way. If you're the type of person who needs everybody to like you, you're not going to like this industry, because everybody in this industry is not going to like you either. It seems crazy, but it's very cutthroat. At least if you're an African American in our industry, it seems that way to me. It's like Love and Hip Hop authors. There's a lot of backbiting. It's probably, I would say in the industry itself that it's just like that. But of course, whenever you narrow it down to a smaller sector, which is African Americans who are all climbing to at least be in the same pool with some of the other counterparts, it can be very difficult. And so you really have to be able to maneuver your way through that, try to stay out of drama, and try to make sure that you're doing what's best for your brand. And at the same time, trying to stay true to yourself, which can be hard. Because whether you're an author, a reader, there's going to be people that's going to rub you the wrong way. And if you have a type of personality like myself, who's very blunt, it's very difficult for me to let some things go. But I do. I have learned not to speak on certain things or to let certain things go. But internally, I might be cussing you out. What I want people to get from my books is I just want them to be entertained. I feel like, just like most people, directors and producers who put out horror movies or, romantic novels, I just want them to be entertained by the things that I write. Unfortunately, I don't write self-help books. I can't say that it's going to make anybody's life better, but I just want them to have a good time. At the end of reading that book, I want them to be like, oh my God, that was so good. I want it to be memorable. Even the most evil characters in certain movies you remember the most. Some people are the most scared of the movie It. Why? Because Pennywise was just the most memorable, crazy character to them. And to date, my character Greer, that's in What I Do for Love, is the character that I think is noted the most, and I'm the most proud of, because she is a little psychotic, but it's fun to me that people are like, oh my God, like they're so struck by her character that I feel good that I'm able to put you in a mindset where you can see that reality, or I can make you travel into that other world of my imagination, and you come out with something on the other side where you feel that you were entertained by that. If you've read my books, that you can see that I'm a sarcastic person. Like, most of my characters have a very sarcastic sense of humor, or dark sense of humor sometimes. And I'm not sure if people realize that that's also part of me. Maybe if you are on my social media, you'll see that I crack jokes a lot. I'm not that sensitive as far as getting upset easily. I can take a joke, I give out jokes, I can laugh at myself. I like to think that I'm a generally fun person. So that's something that I would like people to know. But to also know that although I write about certain characters, or that character's perspective may be the plot or part of the main plot, that doesn't mean that I agree with that character or that I think that the things they're doing are good. I actually had one person review one of my books, and she was upset because an animal was killed in the book. A cat was killed in the book. And she was like, I didn't see that this cat needed to die. And, she was really upset about that. And anybody that knows me knows that I probably like animals more than people. Like, I am an animal person. I talk baby talk to puppies and kitties. I could be looking at a puppy on Instagram and I will talk baby talk to that video or picture of them. I have a cat. I used to have a dog. So Although I may make a character kill an animal, that's part of that character's personality. That's not part of my personality. I would probably run off the road to try to help an animal, but that's not what my characters may dictate. So I would like for people to know that although I write about a lot of murder and a lot of romance, I'm happily married. I'm not planning on killing my husband anytime soon. He's nothing like any of these characters. If anything, he's almost as crazy as me. So neither one of us want to find ourselves in a plot. When you're satisfied, you're complacent, and I don't think that's ever a good place to be when you're trying to build a brand. So I wouldn't say that I'm satisfied because I'm always trying to do better. And for myself, until I'm able to make this a full time career and sustain this type of lifestyle that I'm already accustomed to living, I won't be 100% satisfied with it. But I am proud of myself for how far I have come, especially for how I got into writing and for the accomplishments that I've made since then. Being nominated for awards at all was like the biggest highlights for me because that let me know that anyone thought of my books or myself as an author when I was nominated as an author, as a talented writer. So those accomplishments thus far have just fueled me to do better going further in the future, to just think that, where I didn't think I would have been in the past, I never even foresaw being nominated for any awards. I never even thought about it. Now I want to win one. Since I've been nominated, now I'm like, okay, well, I didn't win. So, it's a goal of mine to win an award, to, have my books produced, like I've said, into, movies in the future. And so, I'm just happy that I have a legacy that I could leave to my kids and my grandkids to say, a mark that I was here and that I did something and that I was proud of myself. But I don't think I'll really be satisfied until I've accomplished, all the things that I really want to do with my writing.